Let's look at making a chart for some simple data. So first, let's check out the problem, and then we will check out the graph. So over the last 60 years, US per person consumption of milk and soft drinks has changed drastically. For example, in 1950, the number of gallons of milk consumed per person was 36.4 gallons. In 2000, that number has decreased to 22.6 gallons. Meanwhile, the number of gallons of soft drinks consumed in 1950 was 10.8, and in 2000, it was 49.3 gallons per person. So what I want to do is have a computer make a graph for me there, a spreadsheet. So I just need to summarize this data. What's changing here? Well, we have the years are changing, 1950 to 2000, and then in each year we have an estimate of the average gallons of milk or soft drink consumed per person in that year. And so over to my spreadsheet here, I have entered, let's blow this up a little more, the years, 1950 and 2000, the amount of milk, 36.4 in 1950, and then 22.6 in 2000, and then soft drinks started off at 10.8 gallons per person per year, and then by 2000 it rose to 49.3. So we can see the milk dropped, and so it was once much higher. The consumption of milk was higher than soft drinks. But in 2000, soft drink consumption is higher than milk. So somewhere in between 1950 and 2000, the consumption was about the same. Now, we don't have the data on the years in between, but we can make an estimate and say, well, let's suppose that the milk decrease was gradual and consistent year after year, and same with the soft drinks, that it was a consistent change year by year. To make a chart of something like this, it depends on your software. Here I'm using Google Sheets. In Google Sheets, I want to highlight the headings and the data. I don't need this extra description right now. And what I want to do with that is insert a chart. And Google will guess at the kind of chart to make. And here it guessed at a line chart. It put the years across the bottom, and then it's color coding milk consumption here versus soft drink consumption. So that's pretty much the graph I was hoping for. And then based on that graph, let's get out of edit mode here. I can estimate that somewhere between 1970 and 1980, it looks a little left of 1975. So I'm going to guess by this graph that it's around somewhere in the year 1974, if the changes were consistent, linear, that the milk consumption dropped by about the same amount of gallons per person each year on average, and soft drink rose by about the same amount of gallons per year. Now, it probably didn't happen that way, but this is one way given the data that we can estimate. And Google did a pretty good job of graphing this. So some things that are missing that could make this graph better. Let's zoom out just a little bit. It says the year across the bottom. That's pretty obvious. It says milk and soft drinks here, and then we have color code, but what is it about milk and soft drinks? So that's where I can take this other piece of information and add it in. If I had highlighted that initially, Google's editor here wouldn't have known what to do with it. So what I want to do is edit the chart. That's clicking on the chart and then that three-dot button. And I want to customize. And let's see, we want to add some titles here. The chart title, milk and soft drinks, is a little vague, so I can improve that a little bit. Milk and soft drinks consumption might be better in the US. And then I also want to put some kind of label on that horizontal axis to explain what those numbers mean. So let's go to vertical axis, and this would be gallons per person. And it's also per year, but we have the years along the bottom, so I think we're going to leave that part out. Gallons per person. And now it's a little more informative graph. So generally when you make charts like this, You should have a reasonable descriptive title, but not too long at the top. You can always add a subtitle. If there's more than one data represented, then there needs to be a legend for what the colors mean. And then each axis should say what the numbers mean, year versus gallons per person. So I think we did pretty good on that. Thanks for playing.